Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Bale, senior editor over at thecoalition.com.
And I'm Josh Lamage, writer for the Coalition. So glad to be back and seeing this new episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3 of Revival. Oh,
Reality check.
Reality check. A lot happens. Excuse me. And this, even the title is sort of a swerve. Because as we get introduced to the Czech family, that's really what it's pertaining to. Oh, don't tell me you didn't get that.
I thought it was like Czech, like Petr Czech, like S, like
Petr,
you know, like
yeah.
You know,
Shout
like that. But then I didn't
legend.
even put like
No, and nope. It's the family. That's it. So she's doing a check on the Czechs. If that's the whole thing.
I was thinking like Czech Republic, like. That's
oh boy, you're going deep. You're going deep, man.
No, I'm down a rabbit hole.
It could have been
got
that.
it.
Yep,
I got it now. Thank you.
All right, we'll get into it. But hey, everybody, thanks again for the subs, the follows, the comments. It's on all the platforms, especially here on YouTube. It's been great. This is, like we always bring up, this is a new channel. We're covering this show. We're covering Murderbot. We finished Mobland and The Last of Us. We pick a show, we run through it, and we go through every episode. So if you're new and you're like, who are these jabronis? What are they doing? This is what we're doing. So if you're interested in Revival, the show, or any of the other shows that we cover, go ahead, give a subscribe. If not, hey, thanks anyway for checking us out.
And tell us what you feel like we should be watching.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other shows
we got about.
We got some other things coming up. We got Dexter coming up and a few other ones.
Yeah.
So there's some things going on that we're looking forward to. But yeah, just a quick shout out for the thank you. And also for, we want to address some of the people that commented on the previous episode. Shout out to Aaron over in Wisconsin. We weren't sure about the whole coyotes in Wisconsin, if that's a thing. And she's from Wisconsin. And she said, yes, that is a thing out here. And they are hunted throughout the seasons except winter. So thank you for that, because I would have not guessed or even known about that. I mean, that's one of those things, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that we're finding out a lot of like extra information in the comments. Like it's not just people asking questions. It's like a lot of information being tossed towards us, which is so great.
Contributing. That's the whole point of this. This is what I always tell people. They're like, oh, you're just reviewing these shows. It's like I'm regurgitating. No. This is as if you walked into a community center. If you've ever been to one, from New York, there's plenty of them. Walk in, they're AKA workshops, right? And you're like, oh, what are these guys talking about here? What are these people doing? And just imagine that there's like a sticky on the door and it says, hey, we're talking TV shows, and just a listing of the shows that we're talking to. And you walk in and you sit down, you get your coffee, donut,
chill.
And that's it. It's real chill. We're not trying to get too crazy, and we're not over emphasizing and breaking things down and going to critique every little thing. No show is perfect.
Yeah,
no
if you're listening while driving, if you're listening while just doing stuff, you know, I noticed my girlfriend, she like listens to a lot of podcasts while just like randomly doing things. So, you know, I feel like this is just a good thing, you know, have it in the background. It doesn't matter. But if you're watching this show, it's a good thing to follow along, I think, and contribute.
Or a side window. I know a buddy of mine, and I do it sometimes. You put it on the second screen. You have, you know, and then occasionally you'll jump in and pull it up and see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
We do throw in some slides and stuff. Right. Yeah. So So anyway, that was it. Thank you for all that. And then wait, there was one other big comment. There was someone that was coming up with the idea. I think
Sorelli 3786.
Yeah, what was that one about? I'm blanking on that one.
There's a couple things. One of them was M found out that Cooper was lost, because last episode we were wondering how did M know, and we thought, was it like a hive mind kind of thing? So M found out that Cooper was lost briefly in the woods because she has a super short scene with him, and he tells her. So no collective unconscious between the revivers, at least so far. Ooh.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right.
And then the other one was also the insanely strong old lady appears to have dementia. She doesn't seem to know where or what's going on and just acts on instinct, like a dementia patient. All right, but in this episode, we find out a little.
We get
more,
an answer.
hopefully.
Yeah, we get the answer. I mean, we got Ibrahim on the case over here. CDC, see, money hard at work. This dude is not messing around. At first, in the first episode, the way, the vibe, the interaction he has with Dana, you're thinking, oh, this is gonna be like a comic relief. He's gonna be real goofy and all that. No.
The show.
When it comes to the work, the man is he's laser focused. But then that's what we need to be right now. So let's just jump right into it. Again, thanks for the comments. Keep them coming. We'll bring them up. And that helped answer some questions that we had during the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, like I said, reality check. Let's start this off.
So the episode starts, and we could open up the first slide.
Yeah, boom. Pow.
With Dana talking to M's roommate, Kay. And it seems like Kay has revealed, like, yes, I know that M was murdered. Yeah. So Dana's like, okay, you know that M was murdered. How was she murdered? Like, what happened? And as this is happening, 2 scenes are unfolding. So we see her talking, and then we also see the story that she's relaying right now. So basically, she says that her Kay and M went to this old lady's house, and
to score drugs, because that's the whole thing. This old lady, she's Mrs. Check. That's what they call her, and she has, what was it, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think there's 3 different types. And depending on what you request is what you get. So that's what I got from it.
And she also sells pictures of roosters and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, folk art. There we go.
So just another side hustle, I guess. Also to go along with, I guess, the purchase of the drugs to make it seem like a sale. So kind of like a laundering thing, I guess, going on.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like, why are people showing up at my house late at night? If people care, hey, you got that craving, you know what, you're redesigning a room and you're putting things together, and it's 12 o'clock at night. Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go? Shout out to the Virgin Megastore in Times Square. R.I.P. I love that place. I used to go to that place 2-3 in the morning when I lived in Harlem, and I couldn't sleep, and I wanted to buy something, or if I wanted to get a game or something like that. And it's like, hey, time to go outside, hail a cab,
petition to bring it back.
Oh man, remember Toys R Us too? I went to Toys R Us.
Toys R Us is coming back. Toys R Us is back.
That's what they all say. No.
There's a literal. Okay, if you're in New Jersey, New York area, and you could go to the
Macy's.
American Dream. No. You go to American Dream Mall. There's an actual full-on Toys R Us, and there's a Babies R Us in that mall. So it's back. Man. It's coming back.
All right. Yeah, I know I never left in Canada. Shout out to all the Canada people out there, because they have a full. I remember that when it was reported of all the ones being closed in the States, and like, in Canada, people were posting. They still had the big box versions, so they were there. But anyway, yeah, there we go. They go to this house now, like you said, it's like a picture-in-picture type of thing. It's coming up really fast, quick, and Kay is telling this story. Already it sounds shady, because she says, oh yeah, we go over there, and she says, who was it? It was M said that she had to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
All right. So she was like, oh yeah, go upstairs. But next you know, she see that she goes into a room and she starts stealing drugs, and a bag of drugs. And then what was it? It's Anthony. That's the big dude. Anthony Check is there, and he catches her, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And she goes running down the stairs, and they get chased out, and the guy starts bucking shots. And she's telling this story to Dana right off the bat. I don't believe any of this. Go ahead.
I mean, they got me. I mean, I wasn't sure like why the roommate would be lying about this. So now we have to look at the roommate, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like, she relays this information, but now Dana's like, oh, whoa, like what happened? And we see M go in. She steals the bag of blue pills that we saw previously. She runs out, and we see that one of the Czech guys came out with a gun and was shooting at her. Now, he doesn't hit her or anything, but you could tell by like this little memory clip, okay, maybe it has something to do with it. There's some heated debate happening over here. So, yeah.
I don't buy it. I mean, right off the bat, once she starts describing and telling that version, and then, of course, Kay throws a comment to Dana, you don't know your sister.
Yeah, sounds like you don't know her.
I would think I would know if she's going into drug dealers' homes and stealing the drugs from them. That's kind of ballsy to do. I don't see that, especially when she talks about she has a condition, she's fragile. Is she going to put her life at risk?
Oh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Is she going to put her life at risk? We get into it later on in this episode where she hasn't done anything, pretty much couldn't even get real hugs because of how fragile
I guess that's why she probably turned to drugs, because that was like her one escape of anything, because she had nothing.
You gotta be really hooked on drugs.
Well, they probably gave her painkillers from all the surgeries and things like that, and then it just bled over. That's that's how usually it starts, I believe. For some people. So Dana is pondering the suspects. It cuts to her and back in the precinct, and we see that other guy. Not his name, but He's in the cubicle next to her.
Oh, weirdo cop number one. That dude, man, he's already acting weird. It was like, oh, you want to see a picture of my girlfriend? No, what was it? My cat?
It was a cat.
Yeah. I mean, he's already acting a little creepy. I guess there's always one, right? And they might as well just sprinkle him in here because he's like, what are you doing? And she's looking up the rap sheet pretty much for the Czech brothers because this is where we get more insight on them. There's an older one, Anthony, aka Tony. I hate when the shows do this where they cut things out, they give the nicknames and stuff, and then it's so close to the other names because there's an Andrew Czech also.
And so it's like there's an Adam Czech,
and then there's an Adam Czech. Shout out to Adam.
Wait, so then Tony was the one that it's not the guy that came out with the gun. Tony's the one that escaped.
Yeah, Tony is the one that is escaped, that was not in town when everything went down.
Exactly. So Andrew was the one that came out and shot at her.
Yes. Andrew is the big dude that came out. He still lives at home with mom. And Adam, I'm assuming he was there, but not there that day. We see Adam later. And then Anthony, aka Tony, he was out of town when everything went down. So when they did the quarantine, he's not allowed back in. Yeah. So that's what she's trying to figure out. And she's telling this to Jabroni cop that's there, this whole thing. And then also telling us and just telling us this. So now we know pretty much what's going on. But what she doesn't know is what was he doing outside of town?
I gotta say, what is he doing out of town? No, but I was just gonna say I love how the show relays information, but not in like a cliche way. Like, you know, when characters just like give off information.
When they start repeating themselves from something that we just saw.
Yeah, or like
what do you mean Timmy is out on a bridge hanging out with Jennifer? It's like, well, we just come on now. You don't need to bang us over the head. We get it.
Yeah. So, but okay. So why do you think he's out? Then he's getting more drugs because she stole.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. It's a small town, right? They're not manufacturing. It's not like one of those meth systems like you had in Breaking Bad, where they're out in the desert and an RV. So I'm assuming that since he is the older brother, also he goes out there, meets up with their larger distributor, makes the purchases, whatever, and then brings it into town. And maybe at this point, this is what happened. He got caught because we know that that's what they deal with. And so quarantine happened. Now he's locked out. He can't get in. That's what I'm assuming. Now, she doesn't know. Dana doesn't really know. She's speculating that this could be it. It could be a bunch of other things. Maybe he has something to do with all of this revival stuff. We don't know. Ooh. All we do know is he's a bad dude. In fact, almost all of these guys are bad dudes.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with them.
No.
So then it cuts to the scene cuts over to Cooper in school, and I guess these two bullies are still, you know, giving Jordan, the revived girl that's in the school, a problem, and they're making fun of her, and she's walking in the hallway. And this was a really cool scene because she goes up to her locker, and she goes up to her locker, and she's like, all these like, you know, letters and things that are all over her locker from when she passed away, and you know. Unfortunately, I've experienced losses in my schools. When I had a classmate unfortunately pass away, and I remember his locker just being written with Sharpie and letters of, you know, just memories and prayers, and it was such a heartbreaking thing when the school eventually had to paint over the locker. It was just a really sad thing for a lot of people that remembered him. But here she's back, and she's seeing this on her locker. She's like, should I take this down? Like.
And then Cooper, who's like, oh, well, you know, a lot of people miss you. And then she's like, then why are they so mean to me now that I'm back? You know, and then you got the bully kids coming over and getting crazy. And they slammed on the guy's hand and all that. It's like,
Cooper's a savage. He takes the locker and he like slams it.
He's sticking up. He's sticking up for Jordan. The one thing I wish we knew more if they had, meaning for Jordan and Cooper, if they had a prior relationship, friendship type of thing. Did they know each other? Because it seems like this is the first go around of them interacting. You know, I don't know if it's
I feel like maybe Cooper is used to being bullied in a sense or being ignored as well. Maybe he's finding some solace with her, and he understands.
Yeah,
her. He seems like a very genuinely nice kid. So
they're connecting in a way, I guess. You know, but yeah, it just doesn't add up. And she brought up that whole thing. Why are they treating me this way? And it's like, yeah, I don't get it. If they put all this stuff up and they missed you, we also don't know how she passed. I was expecting to hear that later on when Dana visits the parents, but
Well, I think she does say something in a sense
oh,
about it.
all right, all right,
So
all
yeah.
right. We'll get to that.
But then Dana goes to Mrs. Check's house, the Check house, and
Mm-hmm.
she's trying to figure out what's going on. And Mrs. Check is like, "Oh yeah, I remember." She shows the picture of her sister, and she shows a picture of Kay, and she's like, "No, no, no. M is a sweetheart. I was talking to her. It was Kay that went snooping around and trying to steal our goods and stuff." So, yep, Kay's lying, as you said.
No surprise. I don't think anyone was fooled by that story because, especially for the obvious reason that Kay had openly said she sells drugs.
Yeah.
Remember, she provides the drugs and she gives some to M and maybe a few other things she doesn't know. She can't keep track. So it makes no sense that M is the one stealing and doing all this stuff with the drugs when it's really the drug game is really part of Kay's life.
I love how the show's throwing loopholes around or like little things where we think we like as the viewer we're like, oh yeah, okay, we figured it out. As some shows are, we're ahead of the person that's trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Here we're thinking, okay, like is Kay telling the truth? Now Kay's lying. Now Kay knows something else, and then to add fuel to that fire, we get Andrew comes downstairs, looking at Dana, and he's like, don't mess with my family.
Yeah, this was a
And he hands her a comic book, and she's like, "Oh, what's this for?" And he's like,
yeah,
"Your
that
son."
was odd. This was an odd
He
scene.
planned that he bought it.
It was like, here, sign it. It was
He
with
heard the
this.
conversation upstairs and was just waiting. He's like, "I got a comic. This is perfect."
Yeah, I gotta come. At first, when he handed it over, I thought that was a folk art because remember, the mom was like, "Well, I gave you this information. This should be like a trade off." And the trade off, I thought was going to have to do with the sons. Maybe help me get my son back into town. Because of the quarantine. Tony Anthony can't come back to town, but no, it's to sell her merch, to sell folk art.
Hey, you gotta hustle somewhere, right?
I guess so. Times are hard, especially if the town is locked off. We don't
Oh,
know
true.
if there was a lot of tourism going on. I don't know what's happening in
Hey,
this town.
that might make the art go up even more. Quarantine town revives.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You dip it in the ground. I'm like, yeah, it could help your
Soil from
family.
the town.
Yeah, it's soil from the town. Sell
I
dirt.
wonder if that's gonna be a thing at some point. That should be a thing.
Anything's possible. I don't know. Well, you probably don't know this. We had an uncle who was stationed over in Germany for like 2 decades, and he was
Oh,
there
I know
during the
this.
Berlin Wall.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah. Oh, you have the piece. Yeah, he
Yeah,
sent
we
us
have
all
pieces.
pieces of the Berlin Wall. I mean, that's brick from a wall, but hey,
I remember seeing it and being like, "What is this
memories.
graffiti? Like, what is this? Like,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
rock with
yeah.
graffiti on it?" But
Yeah.
hey, yeah, that might go for. Well,
He
I
did
don't
it.
think we should sell it. But
No, we're not selling it. Not selling it.
and speaking of
So
which, I got a piece of apparently some coal from the Titanic that they sell. That could be
oh,
cap, but it has a letter of
man,
authenticity. In
I
the
just
comments, if you believe this, let me know.
that's so nuts. I watched this whole thing on the Titanic about a watch. Oh man, it was a watch that was found, and they they showed it off, and then there was a woman that was alive still. She was like in her 90s. She recognized the watch, a pocket watch, like that was my dad's. They're like, oh, you want it back for a price? They wanted to sell it to her. She had proof that that was her father's and that she was on the Titanic. And he stayed on there and said, don't worry, look at the time. Don't worry, I'll be out of here soon. Someone will pick us up. And they tried to, anyway, long story short, she wound up getting it back. But then when she died, then the people that salvaged it, they claimed it back. It was a mess.
And now it's in the Luxor Hotel.
Yeah, now there you go. In Vegas, of all places. Whatever. But anyway, we got big dude Anthony comes down, shows up this comic, makes no sense unless we could zoom in, and if it is the revival or another Image comic, I think that would be funny.
That'd be really funny. It probably is.
Funny.
It looked cool, but he was like, the hero in this story kills everyone because he's trying to protect his family. So I was like, so you better back off because we don't want another Cypress dead.
And it's this comic called
Another
Invincible.
Cypress dead. So hey, look, he's basically saying like, we're part of this. We know that M was killed. Basically,
that's what you got from that. I instantly thought
no, because he's you thought the mom, yeah.
I instantly
that's
thought
what the show wasn't
mom.
trying to imply here because he goes another Cypress dead. So yeah,
because I was thinking. Remember, the mom died in a car accident. M was driving.
Yeah,
but we don't know who caused the accident. Was M just not paying attention, or was a hit and runner?
Well, that's where they led us astray with this because like, why would he choose to be such a jerk and say something so out of pocket like that? But then on the other hand, why would he just? adamantly admit that he murdered his, her sister.
Yeah. You don't do that. I mean, especially to Dana, who's law enforcement. Come on now. It's one thing to just say it's a rando, but it's saying to law enforcement, they can get a warrant, they can get all kinds of things.
And then the license plate thing, checkmate, was crazy.
Yeah, checkmate. When she leaves, you see it says checkmate on the license plate, which makes you wonder. Later on, we'll go back to it when I'm sure at some point. But remember, there was that one scene. I think it was an episode, maybe it was episode 2 or 1. You could figure that out or answer that in the comments. Remember when Emma was talking about what she can remember? She was telling Dana, I guess it was episode 1. She saw headlights.
Yeah.
And maybe if we go back and we'll pause, can we zoom in or do something where we could try to see the license plate? Does it say checkmate? That's it. Because I mean, why did they show us checkmate on the license plate unless they're trying to say, hey, remember this. We're giving you a piece of the puzzle. Remember this. So, but yeah, it was interesting. Big dude, though. Big dude comes down, did that, says his little threats. She grabs the comic. I'm pretty sure she took the comic, right?
Yeah, she took it.
She took the comic because she also, the mom comes down and gives her the folk art, and we see, and then of course the checkmate.
So after this, Dana goes back to the school because I guess Cooper got in trouble for smashing the locker into that kid's face. So she goes back and I guess the principal or the teacher is like, what's up with him, talking about Jordan, talking about Cooper, and they're trying to, diffuse the situation. Like, why weren't you here? Why weren't you part of this? Why is this girl getting picked on so much? But long story short, Dana goes to take Jordan and Cooper back to Cooper's house, and we have the picture.
But the thing is,
this is Dana leaving the house with the picture that she purchased.
Yeah, that was the picture one.
Yeah,
but here's the thing, though. This is what bothers me. The whole thing with the principal, because he's saying, well, everyone's scared. He's defending all of this as if like, oh, she shouldn't be here. She's dead and everyone's scared and you're not doing your job, and pretty much attacks Dana and of course her father, who's the sheriff.
Because everybody has it out for these revivers, and especially with Arlene going around, and Arlene is still missing. So there's a lot of fear going on, I think.
This is, if that's the case, then the principal, he's the principal of school, could say due to safety reasons to protect the reviver, I don't think it's a good idea for the reviver to come back to school, or put the reviver in another room or do something, or have like a one of those like get into the auditorium and do like a speech, like a powwow type of thing for the school. Or I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this, but just basically say, hey, listen, address the situation.
Like an assembly.
Yes, an assembly. Just address it. Point it out. You can't hide it. I understand you want to,
but we're talking about the bigotry and hate coming from also the parents at home.
Well, that's another thing, because everyone's scared. Just put yourself in that situation. You're in a town. Let's say you knew this girl. She passed away, and then a day later she shows up. She's alive and she's there.
I'd be freaked out, but I'd be happy.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't attack. But we're older. Younger kids, I don't know. Young kids say a lot of dumb things.
If I was a young kid, I'd be like, "Yo, what did you see?" Like, well, this kid would probably be popular. I think in my school, at least. We had a kid that came to school with a yo-yo and became popular. Like, yo,
that yo-yo.
You came back from the dead, bro. You're certified fresh now. You're cool.
Chris Angel's gonna be jealous. It's like,
Chris
how
Angel
did you
would be jealous,
right?
That would be a great show. Chris Angel being a reviver would sell tickets like crazy.
Chris Angel,
not that he has problems with that.
No, he would definitely.
The concept name of our show.
He would definitely want to be a reviver, right? But yeah, it's man. Yeah, shout out to Chris Angel. But yeah, either way, I think it was messed up with the principal. But yeah, what's even more messed up is like what we see here in this scene with Dana talking about the parents, what happened to the parents. He's like, I called them 2 hours ago. They no-showed. And she goes over to the family's house. Cooper and Jordan, which is a little girl, they go to her room to play. And then this is where we find out what's going on with the parents, because they're already arguing when you get there, and you're thinking it's a troubled home or something, but it doesn't look like that's the case.
They're super religious. The setting sets it up. Like as they walk in, you could see like crosses on the front of the house, like a statue of a saint or something. They walk in, there's just crosses everywhere all over the walls, and shout out to my boy Abner. This is how his house looks. No hate.
Nice.
But it just goes to show the parents are super religious, super strict, and they're having a problem with their faith along with the situation that they're having with their daughter. So Dana sits out across from them, and she's like, what's going on? Like, they're like, that thing is not our daughter.
Whoa.
They're like, we struggled to have a pregnancy. We prayed. God gave us this miracle and took her away from us. And I don't know who this is. This is not the daughter that we had.
And I was hoping right there, pause. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for some more insight. What do you mean?
Yeah, she's crawling on walls. She's talking
exactly.
in different
She
languages.
talks in tongues. She now speaks perfect Latin.
Things are flying across the room.
Or just crack it. Have you ever seen The Exorcist? But not the regular one, the uncut one, when she did the spider walk down the stairs. Yeah, Jordan is doing that up and downstairs. She's gone all out. And she's never seen the movie. I was expecting something like that, but they don't address it. So are they just upset that she came back? Which also doesn't make much sense, because if you're super religious and you feel like they said, we prayed hard to have a child. They tried for a long time, and they call her a miracle. Well, and that's what Dana says. This is your second miracle.
But my argument, one argument to this is that they raised, obviously that's their daughter. Maybe they're noticing something different about her.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the only thing I can
say. It. Then just say it. They just say what or show it. You know what? Here's another little reference.
Just give you her vibe. Maybe she's just
for those who've watched Pet Cemetery, not the original. The remake, the original one. If you remember when they started talking about when it was in one of the scenes where they said, "Hey, did they ever bury a person at the Pet Cemetery?" And they're like, "Well, they did with this one kid." And then they show the flashback and the whole thing, what happened with him. But they said it was a different outcome, not like the pets. He came back and he was like ravaged, like almost like he looked crazy. He wasn't the same kid when he came back. And so I was hoping it was going to be something like that. If they don't show it, at least say it. Say something. Give hints of what's going on. Maybe like say she gives these really blank stares at us, or she's always looking out the window like into space, or just something. Plant the seed. That's what I was getting from it. I was hoping it was going to bring something like Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, I was hoping that too. I was hoping that something would be relayed as to why they're fearing this. But again, and maybe this is their point of view. The only person that could really come back from the dead would be God.
There you go.
Jesus himself.
Question to the viewers out there. Go ahead and comment. How would you react to this? On two fronts. How would you react to living in this town and seeing revivers? And second, if you were a parent and your child passed and came back, how would you react? There you go. All right,
how would you react as a parent, real quick?
I did say, you know what? What were we doing the day before that? Let's go hang out. Let's live it up. Let's just do all the same things that we used to do. Appreciate it until they show something else. Until otherwise, I see they go crazy, or they're like playing with weapons and they're like, "Hey, I want to see if you could bleed like me, Daddy." What? Like Chucky or something. If nothing's going wrong, I'm not going to see an issue. I'm just going to be happy that my child came back. That's it. I mean, it's a painful losing a child, and I'm sure there's people out there that have lost children and other really close family members that may find this hard to even watch as a show.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because then it's like, man, they of course they wish they could get these people back in their life, and then to watch a show like this and then to hear or to see how people are reacting, especially this family here. No, that's not our daughter. We're not accepting. Unless the show doesn't, it shows us something that's triggering. It's like, yeah, she's acting a little out there, like the Arlene situation. Then it's like, okay, I get it. But no, we don't see it here. We just see a little girl that just came back. She's scared. Everyone's being mean to her. She needs the hugs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, crazy scene. But yeah, Dana relays that, you should be grateful, and you should be, this is your second miracle.
Yeah. And she's saying that from experience because of them.
Yeah. Dana walks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dana walks out. She goes into the car. She calls M straight to voicemail again, leaves a message. She's, worrying about her. Then we cut to CDC. Now we're back with Ibrahim. And I was wondering where Ibrahim was this episode, but he's here. He's looking at the samples. He's still not getting any ideas. And then all of a sudden he has, just a quick idea, like, maybe I should try and figure this something else out. He's looking over the samples. We also cut to Dana overlooking where M was at the spot of the bridge. Also that bridge where I guess her mom passed away. So this bridge,
did that happen on the bridge?
I think so. I don't know. I feel like didn't they say
Because they
there's
said it was
something
a
about the
car
bridge?
accident, but they didn't say if it was near the bridge. I know I don't know.
That's why I
Again, in
think
the
M
comments,
was there in
we saw her
to
at the
begin with.
yeah. No, I thought she was there at the bridge. Just I don't know. There's somewhere to hang out. There's a bridge overlooking water, type of thing.
I think she was struggling with the death of her mom, and that's what she went. But then again, I don't know why someone would go to the same exact spot that they lost that person. I
Mm,
mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It
I would go to a
happened.
place that like means something to me and that person, not where my trauma began. But then again, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's different. But yeah. So then Arlene is still at large. Ibrahim goes to the police office and he's looking for a police escort to go over to Arlene's house. And the lady at the the lady at the counter again has like,
Oh, she's got some funny lines.
she's like, "Oh, who are you looking for?" And he's like, is there anyone else I could go with? Like, could I go with Dana? I see her car's here." She's like, "Oh, you got the hots for Dana?" Like, no. I mean, maybe.
That wasn't needed, but yeah, it makes sense for this character to throw out those little remarks. But again, I just
They're
don't
really
like
trying to ship this romance. Like, I
they
don't feel
really,
like
yeah, I'm not feeling it.
there's
I
no
don't think
real
it's
chemistry.
needed.
I think there. No offense to the actors.
No, no, no. But yeah, because he wants to go over to Arlene's farmhouse to Bob and the whole thing. He wants to investigate and find out some more what's going on here because he's picking up on some stuff and he feels that there's something else that they're missing. And those missing pieces could be back at the location, which makes sense,
Yeah.
right? It
And
fits
Wayne
the
pops
crime
out.
scene.
Wayne pops out of nowhere and he's like, "Yeah, I'll go with you, Ibrahim." So they go over. They go over to the house.
Yeah, yeah, okay. That's a good one.
That's gonna be a great
Oh,
one.
I
Oh,
can't wait.
spoiler.
I
Oh.
can't wait.
But but yeah, they go over to the house and Bob's like, "Yeah, Terry started giving Arlene all this attention, and when she started getting sick and stuff, and like having to live here, and and then my horse, she took out my horse and like my prized horse."
Yeah, he was really mean about the whole thing. And at this point, that's when Ibrahim says, "Hey, you know what? I gotta go to the bathroom." It's the second time in this show someone's had to go to the restroom. Right? So why don't you go before you head out? But
Next
whatever.
time someone comes to your place and be like, "Yo, I gotta go to the bathroom," like,
No, no,
no,
no, no. Go to the alley. Go some. No, no. Hold it. You're
you're
not
trying to
gonna
steal
stay
my
that long.
stuff.
I'm looking at the clock, buddy. You got like 10 more minutes before
You're
you're
trying to
out the
take my
door.
Ninja Turtle machine.
And what's up with this? No one has a bathroom on the ground floor. They're all upstairs. I'm just saying. In my house, well, shout out. I mean, our family house didn't have one. I shouldn't throw stones. We didn't have a bathroom on the first floor. We had one in the basement and upstairs. So I guess it's the same layout. But anyway, right? Ibrahim, he goes upstairs and he doesn't have to go to the bathroom. He wants to explore. He's looking for info. And what does he find? What does he find?
Sees a bed. He finds a bed with like chains and stuff, which I don't know why Bob still left that.
They were throwing, yeah. I mean, unless they're into some kinky stuff. I mean, they throw in some splash screens, and that the splash screens are to fill in what we're not sure of. And
Yeah, what
fills
Ibrahim
in.
is insinuating, or I guess guessing, and it's
Uh-huh.
showing Arlene like freaking out and just like all chained up and bottles of pills and things and this is I was thinking this is while she was revived.
Oh yeah,
Like they chained her
I
up like this. Yeah,
I'm thinking it's why she was alive before the
yeah,
revival.
it is. Yeah.
I'm thinking that this was something he was torturing her. He was
But then again, why would her own mother allow this then?
well, her daughter, the daughter.
Yeah, the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would the daughter allow this then?
This guy sounds very controlling, but then he makes some other little mentions at the funeral that don't really add up.
Because
But
he's saying that the attention was brought up towards
yeah, well,
Arlene and that he was jealous and all that.
yeah, well, we'll get into more of that later on. He brings it up, but yeah, this was an interesting scene because this throws a curveball and a lot of people's theories and thoughts of what's going on with Arlene and the relationship happening at their home. We were led to believe she was an old lady. She just died. Old lady. People die, and she came back and sort of lost her mind and attacked a live horse, and the rest is history. We all know that, holding with the teeth and all. But it looks like there was more to it. Something else is going on. And then just as we're seeing all these crazy flashbacks and stuff, Bob walks in. He's like, "What are you doing? You see?" And then Wayne's up there. What's going
Takes
on?
out his gun. He's just aiming at him.
Yeah, he was like, he's snooping around. See this guy, and you come to my town, and he's going
I'm
off,
not
and
voting for you in re-election.
he's threatening Wayne and saying if you don't do something, and then Ibrahim standing his ground. He's like, hey, under CDC rules and stuff, I have the right to investigate to try to solve what's going on here. But it gets messy. But either way, they have to leave. They have to leave.
And I guess we'll never. Well, maybe we'll, but at least in this episode, we didn't really find out Bob's intentions because of future events. But yeah. So then the next scene, it's M waking up on the floor of Rhodey's room, and they get into a little playful conversation. She's like, "Hey, Rhodey, like, how did you die?" And he's like, that kid that fell over in the river. I jumped in and I lost my life saving him."
Yeah,
And then
because
she's like, "No, you didn't." Like,
because he said he says it was a real story. Because he was like, you remember that story of a kid that fell in and a guy jumped in and saved the kid, but then died. And she was like, yeah. And it's like, oh, that wasn't me. But I knew it. I know that was BS. I still think his whole reasoning for being dead and all, I think it's all BS.
Well, maybe we'll find out.
Yeah,
it's kind of like there's always like that really like punk rock like secret character that has like that alternate backstory that maybe there's some crazy twist later now, which would be cool. But he's like yeah, the way I died was I was trying to cut. What was he trying to cut?
It was like a fruit
An
or something.
avocado. He was trying to cut an
Avocado, yeah.
avocado.
Cut his hand. Felt too macho to go to the doctors to get it checked out, and he got an infection, and then he died.
Yeah. Shout out to sepsis.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Yeah, yes, he has a cut on his hand. Okay, and that's one of the things, right? That when you die, you're left with the mark of whatever caused whatever type of death you had. It stays with you.
But
But
something happened with his hand. But then again, it could have happened when he was little.
Exactly. That doesn't mean that led to his death. That could just be something that had happened at some point. I'm not buying it. I'm just
no offense to anybody that's ever had an infection like that lost someone like that. But like he seems like a smarter guy than that.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
It's not, and he was too goofy about it. He was like, oh yeah, who would have thought this is how
look
I
like
die.
an infected hand. You're gonna get fevers and stuff. There's gonna be multiple warning signs before you just die from that. I'm assuming. So
yeah. I mean, I would think all kinds of things that happen. Maybe swelling, discoloring. You start freaking out.
Yeah,
you start getting a fever. Of course, fever. Your body's trying to fight it. So, but no. I'm still. Go ahead, people in the comments. What do you think? I'm not buying it. Brody is telling a tall tale.
So Rhodey's like, so how did you die? And I'm just like stares at him. She's like, well, my sister and my ex, which is funny that he calls her an ex, the guy an ex, but my ex think that I did it to myself. But the only thing I remember is being on a bridge, and then I woke up at the falls. And then Rhodey's like, well, lots of people have lots of reasons to jump or do things to themselves, but it doesn't make you weak, and it doesn't, even if you did. But she's like, well, I mean, like I don't have any wounds. I break bones and all this stuff. So, if that were the situation, then I would have something.
She would have had something. So you could just check that off. You could check that off. I checked that off way early on. It's too simple. It's too in your face direct. If that was the case, because then that means that we learned about how her whole story played out in episode 2 at the beginning.
Episode, yeah. But then the even better thing with this is Rhodey's like, well, what do you remember, if anything? And she's like, well, when I close my eyes, I have these visions of like little brief moments of stuff. So she takes out her book, a journal, and all these like weird drawings, some with like black lines and the moon in the back, some with like these like a symbol that we saw that I thought was a pentagram, but I don't know what it really is, because it doesn't really look like a literal pentagram, but it's a symbol, definitely a symbol.
But here's another question then that comes up. She had a lot of this stuff in her room. Remember, there was a lot of this
artwork she's drawing and stuff
like that. But that was, pre-revival. So she was already dealing with some stuff mentally with all this. So
is she part of a cult? Did she join some kind of group?
Yeah, I don't know, because that all those images, she didn't just draw those like, oh wow, I'm revived. Now let me take a start drawing crazy things.
What she was showing Rhodey were things that she was seeing from her mind.
There's some new things, but that doesn't. I don't think she had enough time to. If that's the case, and I don't think she had enough time to do all the stuff that was in the room. So something's not adding up. Again, people, if you have some good answers for this, go ahead, comment below, because just trying to figure this out. Either way, it's something's happening. Whether it's she's getting a lot of those images now, but then what about the images before? Maybe she saw this happening to her. Maybe she was already having visions.
Yeah. So then we cut to Terry's funeral. Bob is,
Arlene's.
giving
Yeah. That was
Bob is giving the whole thing for his wife, and he's really distraught because you can tell he really loved his wife. And he brings up the horse,
did.
and the horse is, oh, I guess not.
No, I'm not buying that either.
Because he was jealous from Arlene.
Because the way he was like, oh yeah, she was focusing on, and she wasn't even fulfilling her wifely duties with me, and it's like, oh man, again, it's like all about him. Something about it.
Well, he loved her because of what she did for him.
He just, it was too much. It was.
He brings up the horse's name, Sebastian. Shout out to the horse.
Shout out to the horse. Horse didn't deserve it, and he said his prize horse. So I don't know. Prize is like, this is your what, racing? They did horse racing.
I love how Arlene shows up. Like, she was just like literally waiting for this.
She was waiting for. She shows up. Fantastic scene.
She's distraught, covered in blood. Bob's like, "Hey, no, stay back, stay back." He starts walking towards her. We have Wayne that's already there. He's like, no, don't. We could cut to the next picture. I'm like, no, Bob, stay back. And he's approaching, and he's just walking forward, and then she just grabs Bob and just snaps his neck like immediately. It's crazy, super strange. And then she jumps on top of the casket, on top of the body, like crouching on her.
I was hoping that if she opened it up and like spewed something, that maybe that then revives. Yeah, then she brings it back. That would be nuts. Because then at that point, it's like, wow, let's just start bottling up everything that's oozing out of Arlene over here.
Start selling it.
It's like, hey, but then it'll really make things interesting, because then some people would want to revive people that have been dead for years or maybe decades.
Oh my gosh, they bring back like historical figures.
Yeah. Oh man.
They asked them what happened, who assassinated you.
Right, exactly. It's like, Abe Lincoln, what happened? It's like, it was all fake. I wasn't even at the theater. Who said that? What? Mind blown.
John LaSpoof was my boy.
I tell you, we have pictures. We used to hang out. Who spread these lies? Oh no, right? Crazy.
But that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's a whole other show.
That's a whole other show. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta make that.
But then who do we get walking in, Adam? We get the next picture.
Bam! We got our boy Blaine. We got Blaine. Trevor over here. Shout out to GTA 5.
Comes in waving something, praying, spraying holy water, I guess.
I thought. That's what I said. I was like, oh, look at him spraying holy water. So he is a religious guy.
He has no crosses on him.
No, exactly. No crosses, none of that stuff. But he starts spewing some biblical type thing, or making his own thing up. But it turned out, I think it was lighting fluid. That's what I think it was, because then
he poured it on them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think that was water. I think that that was lighting. It made it seem like he was dishing out holy water, but like you said, he's not a religious guy. I don't think he would have done something like that. I think it was lighting fluid, and then sure, he throws the match, whatever, and poof, in flames she goes.
Yeah. So she's on fire, and then immediately jumps to the next scene. Actually, we could come back to this one. Let's go to the next one.
All right, let's go next.
Yeah, we'll go back to that one right after.
Yeah.
So then we get the governor shows up, because now this is getting super, super crazy, and it kind of reminds me of the scene in Jaws, where like everything just keeps getting worse, and they're coming back to the sheep like, why didn't you do anything? And it's like, you told me not to. Like,
yeah, it gets complicated, and it's very complicated because you still got the quarantine going on. So in this scene, we have also, I think it was in the next scene after this, but it's also here. We have with the governor, we have the mayor, we have Wayne.
Yeah, it's the next picture.
Yeah, let's just get into that, because that's what really, everybody's sitting at the table and they're all putting blame on, and also trying to figure out how to address this, because Wayne wants to just lock everybody in. He wants to go back to lockdown. The mayor is like, no, we have to just deal with this. We have to figure things out and figure out, first find Arlene. They don't know what just went down.
They're lucky it's a small town. Like, imagine if this was like
a city. The
whole vibe going on.
It's over. It's over.
It was hard enough to keep people inside of New York, and we did.
No. This is it's just nuts. But they're trying to figure all this stuff out, what to do. Ibrahim comes in and has his own theory about the whole thing with Arlene. He said through the samples he found mercury, large amounts of it. So he's thinking that Bob was slowly poisoning her to kill her. And that's probably how she died, from the poisoning.
You could have probably done that way easier.
Yeah, way easier. But then the surprising part, and I'm sure some people watching this are going to be like, I don't know how I feel about Wayne, because he's defending Bob, who is clearly a prick. But he's still defending. No, you can't say it about him. Why would he do this? No. Kill his mother-in-law. Come on now. We just heard all the other stuff.
Wayne that he said is the biggest op of this show, and I'll die on that hill. Like he's against everything.
Against everything.
I hope he has like a redemption arc or something.
Maybe. But the big part here, though, is with the governor, because the governor sets down the rules of how this whole thing's going to be played out. And it's basically, was it a tag and bag, or was it said tag and track? He says it worked on Shark Week, and that's what's going to happen here, because as she points out,
Jaws reference totally
exactly, yeah, because she was like, you don't even know all the people that have passed and revived. You don't know. We need to track them. Abraham's against the whole thing and against putting in camps and all that stuff, but the governor's right. We have to figure out what's going on and just see how they progress. It's a complicated situation. It's definitely a complicated situation, but they're still on the fence. They don't know what's going on with Arlene, but as we find out, she's still healing. She's about to come back from round 3.
She came from the ashes.
Yeah, she is. She's on her way for round 3
wild.
on this.
That is so wild.
Yeah, that is it. That is wild, because she went up in a blaze. Yeah, so the plan is, and then the mayor's just going along with it. He's like, all right, well, whatever. I mean, what can he do? The governor is putting down the law here. So the plan is for, even though Wayne wants more reinforcements, he wants more troops and police officers to help. She doesn't address that. So I'm assuming it's just up to whatever he has. But now they have to track every reviver, and that's a job in itself. Yes, it's a small town, but people can keep secrets. Like, think about the way Rhodey is acting until we get to the concert scene. We wouldn't have known. He's not giving off any crazy vibes or anything.
No,
and
it's chill.
Yeah, and the whole thing with the mercury, and this is how Ibrahim is explaining it, is that could cause delirium and all kinds of stuff. We all know about the watch and the Mad Hatter, with where that reference comes from. It's because people are making watches in the mercury, and the hats. Remember, they were making the hats, and they were using mercury, and then that's what got them to go crazy. It could be a stretch. I don't know. They're not buying it, but it doesn't matter. That's a good theory. That's what he's bringing up and what caused her to go crazy. I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll take it. I'm still not sold that that's the reason why she.
What explain why she has like super strength too, and just like absolutely.
No. The mercury doesn't do that. Nope. So doesn't do the strength.
That gave her like horse steroids.
No. It can't be. Because she's still, even if you did that muscle is not going to help with the bones. You still need more. Right. No. I think there is something coming back with the whole revival. Once you come back, maybe they all have it. We've only seen her use it. We don't know. We don't know with anybody else when he started.
Well, then M would have headbunted the girl into like the other room.
Maybe,
but she did break her nose with her skull.
She did break her nose. She couldn't go full force because she's going to cave in just as much, with the face and all that. So, but it's interesting. So now with the story, now we know the next step for the police department. What do they have to do? Now they have to go and find, which it makes the show even more entertaining, because now we're going to see door to door. Now we're going to see that they have to go and actually investigate, and then maybe we're playing a game of Clue. Right. Yeah, is that a reviver or is that not a reviver? Are they hiding someone in the basement or the attic, or are they not? Hey, where's your Aunt Jill? She left town. She left town when everything happened. Help me. What's that? I don't know.
Upstairs.
TV's real loud. Watching those shows on Netflix. I got a 5.1 surround sound. You help me. I don't know. It could be interesting.
Some and Frank thing going on.
Oh boy.
But Dana thanks the bartender for watching Cooper. For some reason she was watching Cooper.
Oh, what's up with this bartender? This is another one I don't get. No one really mentions her role. I mean, what? So
Did you get her
just,
name? I didn't get her name.
I didn't get her. She's just a bartender. I feel like any bar you go to the bar is always a bartender, unless they give you a nickname most of the time. It's just a bartender.
Ask me another drink,
But
bartender. I have a name.
I'm just saying, if I have to drop my kid off somewhere, I don't know if the first place I'm picking is the bar. I just, that's not the spot. I'm sorry.
It's a small town. You do what you got to do, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that's the whole thing. But I would have just taken the kid to the precinct and be like, hey, listen, stay in the office. I have she had an office, right? I mean, or
she can stay with the dad in the dad's office, do his homework.
No, the dad is arguing with the governor and the mayor. He's got his own problems at this point.
I mean, the grandfather, yeah. But
yeah, the grandfather.
She questions her about M and how the fight went down, and she was like, oh yeah, she left with some punk. She's like, oh, some weird guy. She's like, no, like literally a punk guy, like a guy in a band. So it clicks, and then Dana pulls out that ad that she had given her before, and she's like, oh, I told her no musicians, and like, I was like, well, maybe it's genetic.
Which then I guess hints at the role that she had with Cooper's dad. Maybe he's a musician.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what I'm getting. I mean, yeah.
So M walks into the concert. Now we see the concert. We see roadies all dressed up, and we could go back like 2 slides. 2 more. To the left. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Whoa, you look different. Like, what's up?" He's like, "This is my outfit. Like, you never been to a show before?" She's like, "I never been to a concert before. Like, I couldn't go anywhere." Like, he's like, "Wow, all right, well, enjoy the show."
I don't get that. Like, I guess she said because she didn't want to ever get put in a situation that she can get hurt. Yeah, I mean, I broke my nose at a Prodigy concert at Irving Plaza. I always remember that. It was during I think was it Firestarter or Breathe. It was one of
these mosh pits, bro. They go crazy.
One of the big. It happened so quick. I always remember that because I was with my friend Sandy, and she was like not even 5 feet tall, and we're there. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be great. And once they started, people were pushing, and I just saw her go, help! She just disappeared. Some dude was swinging his head like a pendulum in front of me.
Concerts are dangerous.
My nose.
Concerts are dangerous.
I spent most of the day, the night there at the bar. Shout out! Hey, there you go. Shout out to the bartender. I didn't know her name, but she gave me free ice to put on my nose.
Depending on the venue, concerts could be crazy. Like, obviously the atmosphere of rock shows, punk shows, and stuff like that, you get like, the wall of death and things like that, and you go there knowing that those are things that are going to happen.
Yeah.
But, we had Astro World, and you rest in peace to those those unfortunate souls, but like getting crushed, it's a valid thing to be afraid of going to certain venues and stuff, unless you have a nice seat or an environment where you feel safe. Yeah. I can see why M didn't go.
Yeah, it makes sense. But what we didn't see coming is this in this scene where he gets on stage and he gives like this whole little speech intro to his song about life and all this stuff, and then he just slices himself open. And it was like, oh boy, if you didn't know he was a reviver, then you definitely know now.
Yeah, he put his hand under his skin.
Yeah, he's getting all gruesome, and the crowd was into it. And at that point, I'm thinking, no. This wouldn't go down because we just heard the principal talk about how people are freaked out by the whole thing with the revivers. We just heard the mayor and the governor and Wayne dealing with issues. At least on Wayne's side, he's talking about people rioting and stuff. Didn't see that. We did see some people show up at the precinct last episode, but people shook up. So are they trying to say? Yeah, are they saying? Well, that's what we're going to get to. Are they trying to say that the kids here, they're more open to it? That they're cool with all that. Hey, you're reviving. That's awesome. So, thanks.
I think that aspect of it being like almost like a magic trick, it's like, whoa, like he's healing,
Well, yeah, he starts healing. Again, shout out to Chris Angel. I'm sure he's watching this and like taking notes. How can I do this at a show? He'll figure it out, people. Don't ever underestimate the power of Chris Angel.
I hope he watches Revival.
And he'll pull. He's done stuff like this before. Remember the quarter? Remember that quarter thing where he would cut open his arm and it looks like he's pulling the quarter out. Yeah. So he's done a little tinkering within this space.
Well, he did this thing in his live show real quick that he like swallows razor blades and then he pulls out like
he put them on the string and he pulls them all out.
That was cool. And then he puts a camera down and you can see them like in his throat. Anyways, but for some reason, Andrew and his brother Adam are at this show and they see M and they're like, oh, what is she doing here? And then Dana shows up because now she's looking for her sister. So now everyone's in this one place. And shout out to Rhodey really just singing and just vibing. And everything gets ruined because Andrew starts going after M, and both brothers go after M, and then Dana comes out of nowhere and she's like, "Stop it!" And she takes out the taser and
she tasered Adam Cheek, which is funny. I don't remember seeing him anywhere before this. Adam Check. Right, we didn't see him. Where else did we see him? This was it. Yeah, right, we weren't even sure what that was. He came out of nowhere.
That's why I thought there was only 2 brothers, and then all of a sudden there's like 3, because then they said one of them was gone. Unless we got this all mixed up, but we have 3 brother names.
We have 3. We have Andrew. That's the big dude that gave the comic. We have Adam, who just got tased. Don't tase me, bro. And then we have Anthony, aka
Tony.
Yeah, who is outside of the town due to the quarantine. So that's the 3. Unless there's more, I'm pretty sure that's it. Right? There's 2 there, because she had said she went to Dana in the scene back at the house with Miss Check. She mentioned that she went to high school with him, with Andrew.
Yeah, so they know each other.
So they know.
She was like most likely to go to jail, and then the brother's like most likely to go to jail because she also finds drugs on him. So she's like, "Yeah, you're coming with me." So she pulls him up. The guy gets in her face like, "Hey, leave my brother alone." She's like, "You want to start something? Like, you really need something else?"
Yeah.
We get Rhodey and M running away. They go to a bridge.
Yeah, they go to the bridge, and this is when I thought he was going to pull something shady. Yeah, I really don't trust this guy. I really was like, this is it. This is when he does something nuts. But no, they embrace. He gives her a kiss.
Yeah, we got the kiss on the next slide.
Because if anything, it was funny, and I've been to shows, especially where it gets a little bit too violent, and the singer or a member of band, usually it's the singer, says, hey, stop getting crazy, calm down, or whatever. And that's sort of what happened at that show, because he was like, hey, that guy's going after my girl, stop him. It's like he put attention to it. And then of course the whole Dana and all that stuff, and then he Rhodey jumped off stage, grabbed him, and then that's what brings him to this bridge here.
Yeah. So the next slide, it's a picture of them kissing.
Yeah. Quality time.
Now they like each other, and so they end up like sitting.
They have a lot in common right now.
They end up sitting on the bridge, kind of just hanging out there because they realize they're not being chased anymore. And and Rhodey's like, you gotta live a little. Like, where have you been? Like, what's your story? And she's like, well, I break all these bones, and I have all these pins and needles in my arms, and as someone that has a screw in my wrist, and I know you have your.
I got a metal bar on my arm here. I got a metal coil in this finger.
Yeah, I got a broken finger.
Yeah, you just gave me a middle finger. Holy crap! I can't believe you did that.
Shout out to getting into a fight in Amsterdam.
Right. Look at this.
But it was, she's like, yeah. He was like, I bet you light up at an airport. And she's like, I wouldn't know. It's like, what do you mean you wouldn't know? I've never left. I never did anything.
Never been to the beach. Never been on a plane. I just don't get it. This sounds a little bit too far-fetched for me. Yeah. Right? Yeah, this is too much. I'm surprised they even let her go to college in dorm.
Touch grass, Em. Touch grass.
Right. You can get cut if it just got cut. Probably can't do that either.
And she's like, well, now, she's like, and you like this line. She was like, I had to die to live.
Yeah. I had to die to live. In fact, wait a minute. That was something else somebody addressed in the comments about the movie that we were talking about. It was with Split and Unbreakable and Glass. And the one I was thinking about was Glass with Samuel L. Jackson, where he had that condition that he would just break into pieces, like any little thing. If he picked up something and it was too heavy, it would break his wrist. It sucks. It sucks.
But Rhodey's like, yeah, live a little, and he like crouches and he just like falls forward and just jumps off the bridge. And she's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? He's like, come on, live a little, join me. And she's like, what are you doing, Em? What are you doing? And she does it, and then this was funny to me, like the way she was falling, like you could tell it was like the green screen in the back, like one of those like straight to DVD movies. Like she's just like the background was.
It was like zooming. I think it was, you know what it is? It was tricky. There
was no other way to do it. Yeah,
there was no other way because they were trying to also do the water effect and then throw in some flashbacks or whatever images that were popping up in her head all at the same time. Because you see, once she hits the water covers her face, and then we see her eyes open, and she looks like she's having some flashback memories. Maybe
we see those lines. We see those lines from the drawing, which was her hair, and we see the moon. So it was her falling, and that's what she remembered. And then as she was remembering that, she sees the headlights of the car, and then she sees a person that approached her, and that person was, who was it, Adam?
Chris Angel.
It was Blaine.
Yeah, no, it was Blaine. Blaine is a big part of this. He is definitely a big part of this in some way. I think it's a red herring, though. I don't think he is the person that killed her. Maybe he approached her at some point, because here's the other thing. She could be mixing things up with different moments. But I don't think
I feel like he's a cult leader or something.
You think he's a cult leader?
Then we got Dana back interrogating Andrew.
Yep.
And he's
no, Adam.
Oh, Adam, sorry. Yeah, interrogating Adam, and he's like, yeah, like my rights are violated. Like, you just like tased me for no reason, just like you were attacking someone. He was like, well, then you searched my pockets. She was like, I had to make sure there was no threat. He's like, oh man. She's like, yeah, you got a lot of drugs in you. You could be put in jail for 25 to life right now if I wanted to. So here's what we're gonna do: take out your phone, call your brother Tony, and let's make a deal.
Yeah. This was interesting with all this, because once you get Tony on the phone, I recognize the voice.
Ooh.
And this has to be CM Punk. This definitely sounds like CM Punk, and I think this is going to be.
If anyone's going to know his voice, it's you, man.
Yeah. I've followed wrestling my whole life. I definitely know. I was like, yo, this is CM Punk. And she brings him up on the phone for the main reason of wanting to make like a truce. She was like, you keep your family away from my family, and they're not sure what's going on. And that's when she brings up, I already know that you killed my sister. And they're like, your sister's dead? She's a reviver? I was like, come on now, you knew this. At least Adam's like, no, playing dumb. But he's, no, I didn't know. There's like, no, Andrew said it in the house. And he's like, no, I think he was making a joke or saying about the other dead member of the Cypress family as your mother. We didn't even know about your sister until at the party. And I think it was because, why were they going after her? Trying to get to Kay because of the drugs.
Yeah, it was Kay.
I think that's what they were really trying to do.
Because they know Kay has it and they want to get it back.
Yeah.
They can't get any more right now.
Exactly. They can't get any more. And M was with her. So they were like, they just happened to be at the club, and then they saw M. It's like, hey, that's the girl that was with the girl who stole our drugs. So that's what's going on. So
they take the deal, I guess. And
he takes the deal because they were like, all right, fine, yeah, we could do that. Let's take the deal, whatever.
Now something happens after this where we cut to Ibrahim in his office, in the CDC office, and we see a more creek sample that was turned over, and he's like inspecting it. So I don't know what's really coming up with that. They didn't really address it towards the end of the episode.
No. Something that, like, do you think it was strong enough that it tipped over on itself? Like something's happening.
Something's regrowing in that moss.
Yeah,
like with the soil. Could it be that the people were buried and it's something with the soil that revived them?
No, because not everybody was buried.
Oh yeah.
You remember there was people in the morgue on the slabs and stuff.
Either way, whatever revived them is going to be something crazy and probably supernatural. I don't know. Like, it has to be at this point. But yeah, so then it was that other scene with M and him, and we did that prematurely. But then after this, we cut now to the precinct, and Blaine is being released.
Yeah, they couldn't keep him. They brought him in, and it was like, well, for what? Yeah,
disorderly conduct.
Disorderly conduct, but she was already committing murder. So, and she's dead technically. So how do you kill somebody twice? Wasn't there a movie like that called Double Jeopardy? I think it was something like that. You can't be accused of murder, of killing someone that's already dead or something like that, or convicted of murder twice. Granted, he didn't murder her before, but I'm just saying, if she's already passed, all the paperwork's been done, she's labeled as deceased, she comes back, this happens. Yeah. He said a zombie, and then technically she's not dead because she's
coming back right now.
She's on her third comeback in the other room or down the hall or wherever.
Yeah.
So
Blaine walks out, and a bunch of dudes just show up, and they were like waiting for him to come out, and he like looks at them like a cult leader, and he's like, "So who's ready for a holy war?" And then
And
the episode
that's it.
ends.
And the
So
episode ends. The holy war begins. But what does that mean? Does that mean that he is going to go out there and start going and burning every reviver? That's pointless because we know they can come back. So the only other thing I could think of is even though Wayne, it seems like he doesn't want anything to do with Blaine, right? He doesn't trust him, whatever. But he needs more soldiers. He needs, if he's going to be going door to door to do what the governor asked about tag and track, he's going to need help to do this. And to have all these guys get introduced here with Blaine as their leader, and like you said, with the whole holy war thing, maybe this is how they do it. It's I don't want to say like being vigilantes, but they're like being deputized. I was like, all right, here you go.
Things are definitely gonna hit the fan in the next episode, if any.
Yeah, things gonna get complicated. And how is Dana gonna feel about this? Because then I'm sure he's gonna want her to help wrangle all these revivers up. And then what?
And then how would Wayne react when he finds out that his daughter? And then he's gonna want to know what happened too. And then he's gonna get mad at Dana for knowing already, probably. It's a whole trickle down.
It's trickle down. It's gonna get complicated, but it's interesting. The story so far, it's good. It's a good show.
People in the comments keep putting people on, spread the word, post about it. The shows are best spread by word of mouth, and I know a lot of people that are like, what are you watching right now? I don't know what to watch right now. Hey, this is it.
And then and now it's also on Peacock. So for people that don't have Syfy or figure out a way to get it, because a lot of people cut the cord and it's on other services.
It's a lot of meshing of genres too, like religious stuff. There's a little bit of romance here going on, cop stuff,
some horror. It's got a lot going on. And it was the comic from I've seen, and I'm trying not to jump too far ahead and spill things, but it looks like it's pretty close to that comic source material wise. They're changing some things here and there, which is fine, but the overall arching of the story is the same, which is good. So if people are fans of the comic, I'm sure they're going to appreciate this show. But yeah, it's on Peacock on a week delay. So when this episode airs, 2 is airing on Peacock. So it gives people a chance to catch up and go through the whole process. But it's worth checking out. So definitely check it out. But hey, speaking of checking out, thanks again for checking this out and spending time with us to do this whole little recap rundown. And if you liked it, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing. We're covering this show and other shows. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, I'm Adam. That's Josh. And we'll see you next week, everybody. Peace.